Okay, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, anytime you're watching this. This is the promise I made to get this particular video across to enhance the previous one and to complete the quick tips for AutoCAD beginners. It's going to be very interesting. I'm going to be making some comments. So now we're starting the um, we're starting with we're starting with this with this um, uh, yes. So let's see how it is. So let's start.
So now you're familiar with the basic workflow of making a line using different tools. We'll move on to learn about different draw and modify tools, and then we'll make a simple drawing using those tools. So you already know about line. Let's talk about polyline. So I'll go to polyline, and as you can see, I have the dynamic input active.
Okay, we are talking about polyline
deactivated. So I'll press F12 function key and it will be deactivated like this. And now I'll click at a point, then next, and so on, and enter to exit this command. So this one is polyline. Let's go to line again, and once again I'll do the same, and we have the line here. So the basic difference between these two tools is if you select polyline, the complete set of lines will be selected, as this one is a connected curve, but not in case of line. If you select line, only that particular segment will be selected and all of these are separate. So that's the first and the basic difference between line and polyline.
So that is different between polyline and segmented lines.
Both the drawings. Now to make the circle, you can select the circle
tool. This is for circle.
Click at a point and now type in the radius value.
Yes, so click the point.
I'll type 100 as the radius.
Type the radius value. Radius.
And here we have
it. So
default setting. Circle of radius 100 unit. You can also type in the diameter.
Also type the diameter.
Again. I'll click at
this time around, just type D
instead of going to click. Go to the command line.
You don't need to go to the command line. If you are trying to do shortcut, just type D.
Diameter value.
The capital D and press enter.
It will make a circle of radius 50.
You just type the
100.
You just type
and here we have the circle of dia 100.
The diameter, which is 200.
Arc tool.
That means the radius is still 100.
3-point arcs using first, second, and third point. And also there are other features which you can use.
These are different ways to make arcs. 3 point, start,
it just depends
center,
on the
end,
workflow and the drawing
start,
that you have. And depending upon that, you can select from any of these.
Start, center, angle.
Similarly, for the circle, we have
depending on the workflow you have, the project you have
on your workflow
on hand.
And depending on that, you can select the type of circle that you need. Now let's move to the rectangle tool.
Now to do rectangle is very easy.
Make a rectangle. In this case, click at a point.
Just click on the rectangle. So I said always keep your eye on the command window.
So first point and second
point. Click the first one.
Now this one is obviously not a precise way of making rectangle.
This one is not a precise way of making rectangle.
Precise, then activate the dynamic input by
so
pressing
you need
F12
to activate the input so you can see
so that we have this tooltip now. And click at a point
input
and now type in the length and width. So I'll type 100 for the length
option, so that I can just type the length and then type
I'll type 50 for the width and I'll press enter, and here we have it.
So this is more precise.
The width is 50, and that's the rectangle which we need. Now you can move your complete drawing area using pan tool.
Okay, you can move your complete
press and hold your mouse wheel and
drawing area by using
pan.
If
you want to move
just hold down the
selected
the center button, that is the roller, as I showed you in the last video.
You can use the tool right here.
If you have not watched the last video, go and watch it. That's the quick tip
now select the
for AutoCAD beginners
and press enter.
This is the second follow-up,
or any other point if you want, and then move it to your desired point. So click, let go, then again click, and move it.
This is moving only objects.
Then I'll select this circle, or maybe let's select multiple objects. So
or multiple objects. You can move an object or multiple objects.
And now you need to start from a point. So I'll click at a point, maybe here randomly, and it will pick your objects from that point. Now
you have to get a
next
reference point
where you want to drop it.
after
There
selecting.
you have it.
Then
Now the
you
copy
pick.
command works in a similar way, but in this case, instead of moving the object, it will create copies. So I'll go to copy, I'll select the circle, and I'll press enter. Now I'll select the center of this circle for picking this.
To copy.
And now look at this. We still have the original object.
Have the original object,
and
then you have the copy. So you can now
click at the
put
next point,
and then put it, and then put it, and then you can have multiple copies of the same object.
Now
That's
to
very
exit
interesting.
this command, press escape key. So I'm gonna now select all of these things that we don't need.
So all this one that we don't need, you can select them and delete them.
Also, I'll
if you want to select the whole thing, just Control A
using this status bar. You can also deactivate it using F12 function key. We will now work with simple drawing here. Now, let's talk about rotate command. So here we have the rotate
command.
Now, select the rotate tool and select the object that you want to rotate. Now I'll press enter, and the command line will prompt you to specify the base point.
Then
whenever you are in doubt, whenever you don't know the next set of steps, look at the command line.
The base point. So command line is very important, as I emphasize. Keep your eye on command line to know what is the next step.
I'll select this one as the base point.
Not very clear.
And now your object will start rotating along that base point. Now look at the command line. It is prompting you to specify the rotation angle. So let's type 30 and enter, and look at this. So now the rectangle is rotated to an angle of 30 degrees with respect to the original rectangle. It was horizontal, it's now 30 degrees.
That's rotation with respect to the
now let's add
horizontal 30 degree
inside
rotation.
This rectangle somewhere here. And also I'll make a straight line here like this.
Okay, they can make a straight line, or you may not make a straight line.
The mirror tool.
This is for the purpose of mirror command.
So using mirror tool, you can make a mirror image of any object. In this case, I'll select this rectangle and the circle. I'll press enter. And now you need to specify a mirroring line.
Yes,
so
a mirroring
line in this case is this one, this line. So I'll click on this point and then this point. And we'll have this kind of mirror image. So
okay, when you click on the mirror,
you can make mirror images like this. So press enter to finish the command, and you'll end up with mirror image of this original
you're finished, press enter,
where this was the mirroring line.
Mirroring
line is not always necessary. You can even make mirrors without the mirroring line.
Yes, you don't need the mirroring line if you want
these
to
two objects,
continue.
Press enter. And now I'll randomly click at 2 points. Maybe you can make it aligned if you want, like this. But I'll just make straight lines, and I'll press enter, and we'll still have the mirrored copies.
If you want it to be together, you can just
let's talk about fillets.
Make it to be perpendicular to the surface.
And using fillet, you can make the corners of any sharp drawing rounded. So I'll go to fillet.
Talking about fillet now.
And now
to make a round
radius.
Corner of a sharp corner.
I'll specify
out of a sharp
the radius as, let's say, 5 unit.
Yes, specify the radius.
Now I'll click on
you can look at different
this line, and look at this. A small radius of 5 unit will be
small radius.
Let's do it again. So I'll go to fillet, and now I'll click on this radius option.
You can also type R
value. In this case, I'll type a bigger value
on the
12
command
unit
line.
And enter. And now select the first line and the second line, and you'll have this kind of fillet.
And this one is bigger than the other one. So the radius of the fillet
that intersects these objects
arc
like
will affect that.
And now we'll talk about the trim tool. So,
this is the trim tool.
Like this. So we have a lot of intersecting curves here. And now if you want to trim some unwanted geometries, for example, if you want to trim this part of the line or this part, you can use the trim tool right here.
The trim
tool. Go to trim, and now after selecting trim, just press enter key. This is a step which you are most likely to forget. So in this case, select trim and then press enter.
Yes.
Don't forget to press enter
press
key
trim
right after
press
selecting
enter
the trim tool.
before it will take effect.
Now click on the
next
part
step
of the drawing that you want to trim. So in this case, I'll click on this line, and look at this. It will
command
trim
line.
it up to the next boundary. If I click here, it will trim it up to the next boundary. The similar thing will happen for the circle as well. If I click here, it will trim it up to the next boundaries. So using trim tool, you can trim the objects up to the next available boundaries like this. And that's trim tool.
That's how
Now,
the trim tool
finally, let's
works.
talk about a tool called offset.
Now we're going to look at the
So
offset command.
I'll go to rectangle.
Let's look at the rectangle
And
here.
I'll add a fillet.
The fillet
Of radius 10.
Let's
On
say
this corner.
This corner here, you have 10 offset.
I'll press enter. Pressing enter
will
will
just
have a
repeat
your last command. And I'll select this one.
Then you press
there
enter.
we have it. Now I'll go to offset.
So I want to offset
offset
this.
tool will make another copy of your object, which is geometrically similar
to the one you have cut. So offset is just to make another
now
copy.
I'll type in offset distance of, let's say,
of the object you have.
I'll
can be outside enter. And you can be inside.
Now I'll select this boundary and I'll move it outwards. So if I
inward.
click inside, it will make an offset copy just inside. If I move outside, it will make the offset copy outside. Then you can specify the... Again, I'll go to offset, and this time I'll add a bigger value of, let's say, 10 unit for the offset distance. You can. I'll select the same line. I'll click outside.
10 units.
We have
5 units. Again. No, so you have that
tool. Now let's talk about
distance of the offset.
Object snap status bar option, which is a really important status bar option.
And I mentioned in the class,
without using object snap, you won't be able to make precise drawings.
Makes it to do presenting. So we are already talking about
and move your
drawing
cursor
with precision.
close to any point.
For
example,
AutoCAD beginner. So all the tools being
intersection points
used now, they are precision drawing.
AutoCAD will automatically snap your cursor to those points, and you'll also see this tooltip with endpoint
geometric drawing tools. We also have the precision drawing
this is
tools
happening because
combined
we
together.
have object snap activated here.
Object snap is part of
the if you click on this arrow, you'll see list of points
these are the
AutoCAD recognizes.
These are the these are points that AutoCAD has
endpoint, midpoint, center,
selected
intersection, and insertion selected.
Default here.
So currently only
so you can
these
change
points
any
will
of them.
show up when you bring your cursor close to any point. In this case, look at the midpoint. It is now checked. I'll just uncheck this. Now I'll go to this point. We have endpoint here.
Watch this carefully.
I'll just click here, and now I'll move my cursor close to the
midpoint. So you want to get the midpoint here, but because it has been unchecked there,
we don't have anything.
It should not be available.
Even if I click here, which is very close to the midpoint, look at my drawing.
If you click there,
snap the line
it will snap to the endpoint that is already highlighted. It's already selected in the object snap
and I'll go to the object snap arrow. And I'll activate midpoint.
Okay.
Also make sure that this
this is a long
here
process.
On your
as I taught you in the class, you can use
if I go to
Shift
midpoint,
key.
It will be highlighted.
You can press Shift key
midpoint.
and right click to do what we call object snap override.
Object snap.
And it's selecting
now
the midpoint.
Other points in object snap include the center. If I move close to the center of an arc or a circle, it will recognize that. Other points are the intersection point. For example, if I go here, it will recognize the intersection of these two lines or any other curve and so on. If you deactivate object snap, you won't be able to snap to these points. And look at this. Even if I move close to this point,
if you deactivate object snap, there's nothing for you to snap
midpoints.
to. So you will not be able to draw with precision. Take note of that.
These points. So now we are fairly equipped with the basic draw and modify commands of AutoCAD. And using these tools, we'll now make our 2D drawing.
So let's make a 2D drawing from this.
We are going to make. So let's
look at this example. So this is we're going to make this in the class.
I will start with the line
by yourself individually. Then the other one will be a group project.
And now I'll make a line of length 18 unit, which is this one, 18 unit. So 18 and enter again. Now look at this line. It's kind of
18 units.
Tiny,
so I said
zoom in to
AutoCAD units are relative. You determine it.
Now we see it clearly.
And
so now I'll go to circle.
Can assign centimeter, meter, but the unit itself you can say
so dia 8.2, dia 4.8, dia 3.6. Let's start with the first one. And AutoCAD is prompting you to specify radius, but we need dia, so I'll go to diameter.
So we're talking about diameter here,
8.2,
which is 8.2.
Obviously, you can directly type 4.1 if you know the radius. You can just type in, but in this case, I'll do that. I'll type the dia.
So this diameter,
I'll press enter, and this will repeat the last
you can
command.
See.
So I'll go to center.
That's the middle.
Once again, I'll click on diameter, and I'll type 4.8. Enter again. The same center. Again,
then you have
diameter
3.6
and 3.6.
Okay, can you see now?
So we have the three circles.
These are the three centers.
Now, We'll also make this circle of 5.7, although this one is a small arc, but just imagine that we have a complete circle. We'll trim off everything that is not necessary.
Yes,
So
this is like a complete circle.
the same center.
So I have to pick the same center.
This time we need to type in radius.
This is radius. You type 5.7.
Okay, we are done.
You get it there.
Now, look at this total gap. It is 12. And
so this is 12.
Half of this should be 6.
6. So half
we
of
have
it should
the
be
central
6
line.
here. So you have
we can make an offset on this side as well as on this side.
Yes.
With a distance of 6
So
unit.
we can make an
I'll
offset.
Go to offset now. I'll type in 6. And enter.
Distance for the offset.
Now I'll make an offset.
Pick this.
Here on this side.
Here.
To the left.
And then make on this one to the right. So this.
All right. Now we need to make another offset. As you can see, this line is tangent on this circle. So is this. So that means this line is at a distance of the radius of this circle.
Yes.
So its radius is 4.1 as diameter is 8.2. So distance between this line and this line should be 4.1.
Yes.
So let's go to another offset. So offset 4.1, enter this line to the left, this line to the right.
Okay.
We are done. Now, let's go to line tool again. I'll go to this point. I'll make this line.
So that is about that
line. And I'll press escape key. Now this gap is 1 unit as you can see here. So again I'll go to offset.
Offset 1 unit up.
1. Enter this line and I'll click upwards. Now this gap is 4 unit from this line. So again we'll make another offset.
Okay.
So
another
offset 4, enter this line and to the top.
Okay.
Now the center of these circles are at a distance of 2.5 and it's intersected by this line. So this line and this line. So that's the intersection point where the center is. So again I'll go to offset and I'll make a line here which we don't see. We'll later on delete this line, but for now we need to make it. So I'll just go to offset.
That is
this distance
what
is
we call
2.5.
construction lines.
So 2.5
of construction age.
This line to the top. All right. So we have 4 of these lines and we have a lot of lines here which are
so those lines that you will not need later that may even turn off
drawing a little bit. So
from the layer setting, they are called construction lines.
Line at the center, we don't need it.
Construction
and
age
now I'll go to
lines.
trim and I'll press enter. So now we don't need this line, we don't need this line.
Okay, that's
all right. It's cleaned. Also,
cleaning that,
we don't
deleting
need
that.
this part of the line.
Don't need this part.
Don't
need this part. So
we also don't need many of these things, but we'll delete those drawings later on. For now, I'll press escape, and now I'll add these circular portions using fillet.
Yes.
As
so you can
see
see
the fillet radius is 1.6. So I'll use this. I'll go to fillet. Now I'll select radius, and I'll type in 1.6 for the radius.
And also type R.
This line. And I'll click right here.
Type 1.6.
And the fillet is added. But unfortunately, we don't have the line here anymore. So I'll go to line and I'll just make one line like this. I'll just touch it here. That's enough. So I'll go to fillet.
That's filleting.
And once again, radius. It should be 1.6. And this line and this line.
Okay, you can see how it is now.
Now we need to make
has been
circles.
Done.
So again, for making circle, we don't have the intersection point. For that, I'll go to line. I'll click on this point here and I'll extend it up to this point so that we have the intersection. I'll go to circle. I'll select this center. Now, the radius of circle is 1.52. Well, that's the diameter.
1.52.
And the second one is 2.4. So let's use these values.
So these are the
diameter 1.52.
0.52.
And press enter again. The same center, and this time the diameter is 2.4. So dia 2.4.
So I say you can also type D instead of moving D.
Now we can delete this line and this line as well. These two were the reference lines. They're no longer needed. Now we need the same kind of circle here, but instead of making it, I'll make the mirror image.
Yes, you can make a mirror image or doing it exactly
these two circles
before you leave this.
And enter. And now I'll click on this midpoint.
That's the midpoint to mirror it.
Midpoint
you see that?
For the mirroring line. And I'll press enter.
So instead of repeating the same thing here, if you are comfortable with that,
as you can
see,
we are approaching very close to the end result. So before we do that, let's trim this extra part.
Okay, I want
I'll
to
go
trim
to
the extra
trim,
part of this.
enter. I'll trim this part
Okay,
so that we have a
now
clean picture
we
here
have clean
of
picture
what we
of
need to
that.
make, and we just need to make this part of the drawing,
Yeah, this is
which
a
we
part
can
of the
easily
drawing
make
that
using
we
offset.
need to
So
get
I'll go to
properly.
offset again. And now this offset is 1.6, as you can see here.
So you can
So
see
let's type that 1.6. I'll select this line. I'll click to the left. I'll select this line. Click to the right. Now this is 4.8. So I'll go to offset again.
4.8.
And distance is 4.8.
From the bottom here.
Now this line is offset at a distance of 4.8.
4.8, that's that.
Now all we need to do is just trim. That's it. So I'll go to trim, enter, and I'll trim this part, this part.
Trimming is continuing, going on now.
This tiny part right here, and this tiny part right here, and this part of the drawing. And I'll delete all of these extra lines.
This
so
one outside.
These lines.
You have to delete all these ones.
These two.
They're not important now. Okay.
And this is our end result. So now you can clearly see how we use these tools in a practical situation like this.
This is the one you're going to do individually in the class that I'm going to mark.
So in the last video, we'll talk about managing our drawing, adding symbols, and plotting our drawing.
If you have done it, and then thank you. So quickly, I'm going to move to the next one. Try to subscribe. You can subscribe to Source Card too, and subscribe to the channel, and then you can.
So now you're familiar with the basic.
You can also share, share with your friends. So quickly, I want to move to the next one as a continuation, so that I don't want to break the video into two, because this is very it's just like a small. So let me stop sharing now, so that I can share another one. So I don't want the video to be too long. I will just okay, so we want to continue from the previous part. Now let's start off immediately.
So now you know the basics of making drawing and all the basic draw and modify commands. So let's move on and understand some of the drawing management and annotation tools. I'll start with dimensioning, because it's very important in any kind of drawing.
We're looking at adding dimension, very important.
To dimension this drawing which we made earlier, I'm going to go to this annotation panel, and right here we have the tools.
Don't forget, if you have challenge with this, you can also
tool or the dimension
bring out the
or you can use from any of these existing
menu
tools.
bar.
In this case, I'll use these tools
by clicking on that
the very first dimension using linear.
Short
so I'll go to linear and I'll add a dimension
arrow that I showed us in class.
To add the dimension, all you need to do is select the first point, second point, and a point where you want to drop the dimension, and you'll have the dimension.
So dimension is very easy. If you are doing linear dimension,
far from being perfect.
Just pick the 2 points.
Very big. Even the arrow size and everything else is big. If you want to modify it,
the dimension style or font
panel. So I'll expand the annotation panel.
Just go to dimension style.
Dimension style option,
and then
which looks like a dimension line with a
paintbrush change the option here.
Now I'll go to modify.
I'm going to modify,
and here I'll go to fit tab.
You're going to
and I'll change the overall scale. That's the only parameter which I'm going to change here in this case. And it's 1. So we need to decrease the size. So maybe I'll change the size to 0.25 or maybe 0.2.
0.25 or 0.2. Can you see that?
And close. And now the size of dimension is 0.2 times of its original value. And this looks pretty good. Now using this size, I will make other dimensions. In your case, the scale of 0.2 may work, or maybe in your case, you need to change it to some other scale.
Yes, you may have to scale depending on the drawing you have.
Now this is linear dimension.
But this is another
if you want
area
to
that
add
it's not been addressed here. When you want to scale evenly,
so go to radius,
there are some settings you need to set,
circle,
which I'm going to show
and again
us
click, you'll
the
have
next
the radius. For the diameter, select diameter, click on the circle, and now you'll have the diameter symbol.
Here's diameter dimension and then radius dimension. Very easy.
Symbol for the radius and diameter.
Just select.
AutoCAD will take care of this for you.
And we
In
have
a
the
similar way,
angular.
we have dimension like angular if you want to add angles. So here I'll select the first line, second line, and click again to add the angles. So you can add these dimensions pretty easily like this. Now, after adding dimensions, let's talk about layer. So currently we are making our drawing on layer 0, which is the default layer. And if you want to add more layers, then you can go to layer properties and add the layers that you want.
Now
So
we are
we
on
are
layer
working
now.
with 0 layer. You
Layers
can
are
see
very
we have check
important.
mark right next to layer 0. That
We're on layers
indicates
now.
our drawing is
Layers
in
are
0
very
layer.
important.
I'll click on this new layer and I'll
Take
call
note.
it dim, or short for dimension. And now I'll use this layer to put our dimension. So now I'll close this
Okay,
layer
we're on
property
layers
manager.
now.
I'll select all the dimensions which I've made here, and I'll go to this drop down and I'll select dim. Now all of our dimensions are on dim layer. So what are the advantages? Well, the first thing is you can change the properties, like you can change the color from here. So I'll go to this white box, I'll change the color of dimension to red, click on OK, and look at this. All the dimensions will change their color to red.
Yeah.
Also, if
Good
you
to change the
maybe, let's
color
say,
of
want
your
to hide the
dimension.
dimensions, you can click on this light bulb icon and the dimensions will simply disappear, and they are still here in the drawing, but for now it's hidden. To bring it back, you can go to the drop down and activate it again. So that's the advantage of putting objects on their respective layers, so that you can control its properties right using the layer property manager. Now let's also talk about blocks. So
Okay,
blocks
this
are
we're looking at
symbols, and
blocks.
you
Very
can use
important.
these symbols in your drawing, and they have their own set of advantages. So I'm going to make a simple window here using the rectangle tool, and also I'll maybe use arc tool.
I want to
So
use
first
a
point
rectangle tool and up
and
to
second
make
point,
windows.
third point, then line,
Middle.
and again. Alright, so here we have a simple window kind
It's
of
a simple
shape.
window.
Now, in this case, all these objects are separate. They are made separately using different draw commands, but you can convert this into a symbol, and that symbol is called block. Now, to convert it into a symbol, I'll go to create block.
So I want to convert
block
this
panel.
into a unit.
I'll give it a name. So let's call it
using
window.
block.
Now we need to specify some parameters like pick point. Select this
So
and
pick the
specify
point.
a point that will be the base point or the pick point of the symbol or the block. Now select objects, click on this box and select all the objects. Press enter, and I'll simply click on OK now.
OK.
And now if I hover my cursor, it will show this as a single object. If you select it, it will only show the pick point or the base point which we specified. And now this one will work like a single object.
So it's now okay.
Now what's the advantage of this? Well, if you now go to insert, you'll notice that now we have this window added here, and you can now insert as many copies of this window from here, or you can also make copies of this block from here.
You see, you can make copies.
All right. Now, all these blocks can be modified directly by modifying any one of these block references. So maybe I'll just select this block, and then I'll right click and I'll select block editor. So this is the place where you can modify the blocks. So look at this. Now this is the block editor. As you can see, we have a tab here, and here it will work again like separate objects. Here I'll modify this. So I'll go to circle and I'll add a circle maybe here. Then I'll go to trim, enter, I'll trim this line and this line. And we have a different kind of window now. I'll go to close block editor.
Then go to save it. So as you can see, everything is settled now. So that's how you can make block and edit block. Thank you. We're going to stop here so that the video does not become so long. Thank you for your time. Watch it over and over again until you perfect it, and then share, like, and comment. If you have any question, let me see in the comment area.